Hi, welcome to Behind the Curtain IMO. I'm Betsy Jordan. This is Russia and Ukraine Part 4. So if you haven't seen Part 3, 2, 1, please go to the channel on YouTube, Behind the Curtain IMO, or under my name, Betsy Jordan. We're working some of the kinks out there, so I hope you'll be patient with us. We're gonna get that organized someday soon. But I wanted to get back to parts 3, 2, and 1. We're pretty much giving you some background, some history, some interrelatedness. But I want you to know that it's not just from reading books and not just from looking at podcasts and not just from looking at social media. I have been fortunate in being able to sit down and talk to Alex Vindman. And Alex was the guy who filed the complaint, the presidential misconduct complaint, and is an expert on Russia and Ukraine. And he serves in our government, or he did. And he is the person who told me that his family had been threatened. So this is not me reading this. This is me understanding this from somebody's personal experience, okay? And he gave me permission to say that to you. Now, I also had a meeting with an officer at the protests at UNC, and he was someone who had to keep the peace. And I cannot use his name, but I can relay his experience. Which he told me firsthand, and it still would be in a court of law considered hearsay, but regardless, he told me that the organizers of the protests at UNC stayed at the Carolina Inn. Now, so lest you think it's all students and it's all, people who are like pinching their pennies or whatever, it isn't. And there were people who were paying for these protests that were not involved in the actual protests themselves. So, and they stayed at the Carolina Inn. The Carolina Inn is it's an upscale hotel. It's not like there's a whole lot of hotels there in Chapel Hill. There are more and more these days because it's becoming more and more of a popular area in North Carolina to settle. But it is important to note that law enforcement was instructed, in certain ways that they needed to interrupt protesters, in certain ways they didn't. There are rules and regulations for protesting. So lest somebody thinks I'm trying to control somebody's freedom of speech, well, I'm not. And I'm not suggesting that protests should not happen. In fact, I think the better organized they are, the less casualties we have. But they still raise awareness in a manner in which they should. I'm just saying to you that the protests are influenced. The social media that you're seeing is influenced. The war in various parts of the world are influenced. The financial relationships are influenced. And we also do our share of influencing. So when we speak about, when Pelosi spoke about, these protests are because of Russia, that's what she meant. She meant that some of the financing is coming from Russian or from foreign agents. But it got her some backlash because it's not just about Russia. It's also about a paradigm shift in that this, Gen Z and millennials, they don't want war. They don't want killing. They don't want shooting of any kind. So it's probably a good idea if we change the laws so that we honor their spirit of wanting to protect the planet, wanting to protect their animals, wanting to protect people and human life. It's going to be really important that our leaders listen to their cries, no matter who is funding the operation. When it's a stand for human life and compassion and freedom, that's what we need to be about. Instead of control and fear, let it be kindness and joy. This has been Behind the Curtain IMO. Thank you for being here.